to my rebuild featuring the 2009-2010 Edmonton Oilers, where I will be rebuilding the dreadful team with most. The journey starts with the 2009 NHL draft, where I'll be drafting 4 very instrumental players to our success, and Leddy, Lehner, Sami Vatenen, and Cizikas. Leddy will be a top 4 defenseman for the team. Lehner will likely be the backup to whichever number 1 goalie we will eventually draft. Vatenen will eventually be a top 4 defenseman, and Cizikas will be a very good role player for us. The first move we make is Waive Nikolai Khabibulin. Nikolai Khabibulin did not fare very well with the Edmonton Oilers. He was pretty much useless with them. The next move we make is trade Dustin Penner, Fernando Pisani, and Ladislav Smid to the Phoenix Coyotes for Scottie Upshall, Daniel Winnik, and a 5th-round pick in 2010, which we used to select Petr Mrazek. Dustin Penner had 63 points that season, so the Oilers should try to trade Penner while he has his highest value yet. Fernando Pisani and Penner would be helpful to contending teams, like the Phoenix Coyotes. Scott Upshall and Daniel Winnik won't be players that get a whole lot of points, but they will be key role players for the Oilers in the future. Petr Mrazek will eventually become the Oilers' number 1 goalie. The third move I make is trade Sheldon Souray, Patrick O'Sullivan, and Ethan Moreau to the Washington Capitals for Matthieu, Beagle, and a 6th-round pick in 2010, which I used to select Marc Stone. Sheldon Souray struggled with the Edmonton Oilers, so he needs a change in scenery. The Capitals need another puck-moving defenseman, so it would make sense to get Sheldon Souray. The Oilers need to get rid of Patrick O'Sullivan. Just get rid of the dead weight. Capitals could also use Ethan Moreau's veteran leadership for the playoffs. Matthieu and Beagle weren't a very big part of the team yet and were considered mid-level prospects at best. Marc Stone can be a very key part of the future. The next move I make is trade Shawn Horcoff, Ryan Whitney, and Marc-Antoine Pouliot to the Ottawa Senators for Anton Volchenkov, Zach Smith, and a 7th-round pick in 2010, or 11, which we used to select Andre Palat. Shawn Horcoff and Ryan Whitney would be more helpful to a contending team like the Ottawa Senators than a rebuilding team like the Oilers. Marc-Antoine Pouliot, at this point in his career, could have still turned it around if he were in the right environment. Anton Volchenkov would have been a good shot-blocking defenseman for the Oilers. Zach Smith would be a solid role player for the Oilers in the future. Andre Palat will eventually become a key player for the Oilers. The last key move that we make is trade Sam Gagner, Mike Comrie, and Tom Gilbert to the Columbus Blue Jackets for Derek Brassard, Anton Stroman, and a 4th-round pick in 2011, which we used to select Johnny Gaudreau. Sam Gagner needs to be traded because he just needs to change the scenery. Same thing with Mike Comrie. While Columbus isn't that much better than Edmonton, it does make sense because at this point, Comrie was a proven center, and that's exactly what Columbus wanted to pair with Rick Nash. Gagne was a former number one, first round pick, and had a higher potential than Derek Brassard at the time. Derek Brassard would give the Oilers a good number 2 center. Strowman gives them an eventual top pair defenseman, but he would take some time to develop, which that's fine with the Oilers because they're a rebuilding team. And Johnny Gaudreau would become a core piece of the team going forward. And the last minor move we make is trade Denis Grebeshkov to the Colorado Avalanche for a 5th round pick in 2011, which we used to select Andrew Shaw. This trade is just to clear a player off the roster. With the new talent coming in, there is no room for Denis Grebeshkov. And this brings us to the 2010 draft, where we'll be drafting 5 very key players in Tyler Seguin, Ryan Spooner, Brendan Gallagher, Petr Mrazek, and Marc Stone. I know Taylor Hall is a very talented player, and he for sure will be a very important player and instrumental to the league in the future. But Tyler Seguin fits the team that we're building right now. So it would make sense to draft a center, as we are lacking a pure number 1 center. Ryan Spooner also fits the bill because we seem to be lacking centers. So he would be backing up Tyler Seguin as a possible number 2 or 3 center. He can also play the wing. So Ryan Spooner gives him flexibility. Brendan Gallagher gives them a second line right winger that gives them grit and can bury some garbage goals, which you always need. Petr Mrazek, as I mentioned before, will eventually become their number 1 goalie. And Marc Stone will become an instrumental key part of their team in the future. So, after all said and done, the Oilers would have added via trade Anton Volchenkov, Zach Smith, Matthieu Perreault, Jay Beagle, Scottie Upshall, Daniel Winnik. They would have added via trade Tyler Seguin, Ryan Spooner, Brendan Gallagher, Marc Stone, Nick Leddy, Robin Lehner, Sami Vatenen, Casey Cizikas, Petr Mrazek, Andre Palat, Johnny Gaudreau, and Andrew Shaw. They would have lost Nikolai Khabibulin, Sheldon Souray, Patrick O'Sullivan, Ethan Moreau, Dustin Penner, Fernando Pisani, Ladislav Smid, Shawn Horcoff, Ryan Whitney, Marc Antoine Pouliot, Sam Gagner, Mike Comrie, Tom Gilbert, and Denis Grebeshkov. The 2009-2010 Edmonton Oilers were a complete mess, but a massive overhaul puts the Edmonton Oilers in the position that they are right now, and they are in position to be contenders in 3 to 4 years. And in this rebuild scenario, they will be poised to be contenders in 3 to 4 years, rather than being the laughingstock of the NHL. There is a negative in this, though. With the success that the team will be having so soon, they most likely will not get Connor McDavid. Next episode, I'll be rebuilding the 2009-2010 Florida Panthers.